Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am here not as a deputy ombudsman, but in my capacity as a former director of PS-DBM. I welcome the hearing, Your Honor, and thank the committee for the opportunity to clarify the confusion. So what is the confusion? The confusion is that PS-DBM and the government used Bayanihan law to procure the COVID-19 response items. And yet, the questions that are being propounded or we are asked to comply with Republic Act 9184 related documentation, processes, and procedures. So what does Bayanihan 1 say? Section 4K of Bayanihan 1 states that the President is authorized procure the most expeditious manner as exemptions from Republic Act 9184 or the government procurement law and other relevant laws. So should there be doubt about Bayanihan 1 or what should apply in the procurement process? There should be none because Section 7 of the same law states that in case of conflict with another statute, order, rules, or regulations, the provisions of Bayanihan 1 shall prevail. So what do all of this means? This means, Your Honor, that the legislative department recognized the need to give the president the power to procure in the most expeditious manner given the extraordinary circumstances. That is why we procured under Bayanihan law, Your Honors. Later on, may I be given the opportunity to present a PowerPoint, Your Honor, prepared by the PS-DBM. Thank you.
Mr. Attorney Warren Yong, so you are now with the Ombudsman, right?
Correct, Mr. Chairman.
So pag makadating tong kaso na to sa Ombudsman, what will be your participation in that case since you will be part of the accused?
First of all, Mr. Chairman, there's actually no conflict of interest because the overall deputy ombudsman is not actually handling cases involving high-ranking officers. If I would say in layman's terms, I'm more like a VP for admin and finance in private corporations. I also handle low-ranking. I'm also the final signatory
Yes,
for
sir.
low-ranking.
Pero nevertheless, Attorney Leong, you are still with the organization. Don't you think you should inhibit in that if ever makarating dyan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was going to that po. I will inhibit po. Nevertheless, if for any reason it comes to my desk, I will voluntarily inhibit.
Thank you. Thank you. As you mentioned, you are requesting that you will present a PowerPoint considering the agenda today is after the resource persons have spoken. It will now be the turn of the congressman to propound questions in the interpellation. So this is the only time we can allow a PowerPoint. Can you limit to 10 minutes, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. I will limit it to. I will shorten my presentation and skip some slides.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. So first slide, I call on relevant agencies to ensure speedy delivery of basic medical supplies, equipment to health facilities from the approval, importation, and to the delivery. Everything must go smoothly to make sure that we do not waste time. So that was the marching order of the President. He repeated this in the President's talk to the people dated March 24, 2020. Balikan po natin ang sitwasyon ng mga unang buwan ng pandemya. So these are newspaper clippings. You don't have, we presented it here so that you will have better complex po. March 31, 2020, CNN Philippines staff, medical group cites protective equipment lack for death of 17 doctors. Like wartime, Philippine doctors overwhelmed by coronavirus deluge. COVID-19 cases among healthcare workers now at 1,245. Death toll at 27, April 27, 2020. We will have nothing. Lung Center of the Philippines, please for PPE suits and gowns amid depleting supplies. March 23 po, 2020. Coronavirus in the Philippines, health workers, protective equipment, fear, exposure. Kulang ang supply ng mga personal protective equipment sa buong mundo. Coronavirus sparks a war for masks as accusations fly. So on this one, there was accusations that other nations are getting supplies intended for another country. Protective equipment costs increased over 1,000% amid competition and surge in demand. Kailangan nating makahanap ng supply. So these are some of the pictures. The Southern Philippines Medical Association is seeking for donations. We are asking for masks.
Sir Warren, naka-mute po kayo, hindi kayo marinig. Pwedeng unmute. Wala pong audio from Sir Warren.
Yes, sorry about that.
Yes, please repeat.
Issue number 1. Overpriced ba talaga ang face mask at PPE na binibili ng gobyerno noong 2020? Hindi po. Face mask, dahil tumaas ang presyo ng face mask noong umpisa po ng pandemya, naglagay po ang DOH ng price freeze at suggested retail price. So price freeze was placed at 28 pesos. Halaga po ng binili ng gobyerno ay 27.72. Some were actually lower. So as you can see in the slides, in March 16, 2020, the price freeze was at 28 pesos. In August 10, 2020, the price freeze was still at 28 pesos. Totoo bang merong face mask na may halagang 13.50 na kayang isupply ng mga local manufacturers noong Abril 2020? Wala po. Noong April 2020, nagkakahirapan po tayo sa supply. Yung pong supply natin sa ating awardee na si EMS, it was only delivered in June 1. The contract was entered in April 27, 2020. And then the first delivery was supposed to be scheduled in May 25. That's about more than a month. And then the actual delivery was done on June 1, 2020. So as you can see, it was not immediately available and it gave them time to produce. Presyo ng personal protective equipment. So, ito po, pinapakita po natin yung mga purchase orders nung presyo ng wala pang pandemya. So, September 28, 2015, the price is at 3,500 each. June 2016, the price is at 3,864 each. Nung may pandemya na po, at around May 2020, we procured 1,910 pesos each. We are not saying that the 3,500 and 3,800 are overpriced. What we are saying is that this forms part of the historical record, historical data of DOH, and then this was cleared by COA. If this is not overpriced, and this was cleared, with more reason po, ang 1,910 procured during pandemic, procured using emergency procurement, is reasonable. So ang laman po ng bawat PPE set. So nung June 2016, 3,800 po ang presyo, meron po tayong 8-piece set. So goggles, glove, shoe covers, coverall, surgical gown, and 95, surgical mask at head cap. Nung May 8 po, 1,910, 9-piece set po ito, face shield, gloves, shoe cover, coverall, gown, and 95, surgical mask, head cover, and apron. Ito po ang halimbawa ng mga PPE sets. I'll go over this quickly lang po since I'm under time constraints. Issue number 2, dumaan ba sa tamang proseso ng emergency procurement ang pagbili ng mask at PPE? Opo, sumunod po ang PS-DBM sa proseso ng emergency procurement under Bayanihan 1. So what is Bayanihan 1? This is the Bayanihan 1. You can immediately Google this. Section 4A provides that undertake procurement of the following items as the need arises in the most expeditious manner as exemptions from the provisions of Republic Act number 9184 or the Government Procurement Reform Act and other relevant laws. So these are the goods enumerated. In case of doubt, you go to Section 7. Yun lang po ang dalawang provisions ni Bayanihan 1 when it comes to procurement of goods. So this one, Section 53 under RA 9184. This is included in the exemption from Bayanihan 1 because it states exemptions from Republic Act 9184 and other relevant laws. So na-exempt na po tayo kahit sa alternative mode of procurement na negotiated procurement under RA 9184. So this is the issuance of a state of public emergency. I will skip this one. Paano napili ang mga suppliers? Paano po napili ang mga suppliers under negotiated procurement or under Bayanihan 1? So sagot, pinili po natin under Bayanihan 1, we were allowed to directly negotiate. But we still underwent market price analysis. So pinili po natin yung mga kayang makapag-deliver agad or at least at the nearest possible time, pinakamababang presyo base sa mga quotation na nakuha sa mga suppliers na kayang mag-deliver sa tamang oras, and dapat po compliant po sa technical specifications ng DOH. Hindi naman po si PS-DBM ang nagsasabi kung ano ang bibilihin at kung ano ang technical specifications. Nakalagay po yan sa purchase request ng ating end user. So it has to be compliant. Ano ang hinihingi ng PS-DBM? So we're asking for mayor's permit, ITR, price quotation, omnibus warrant statement, and compliance to the technical specifications. Kahit po hindi nakasaad sa Bayanihan 1 na mag-market survey, ang PS-DBM naglagay po talaga ng layer na we do market price analysis. So the first level, for the first level of ensuring that there's no overpricing, we take into consideration po yung ATR ng ating end user. Si DOH po ito. So nakalagay po sa purchase request ang items na bibilihin, quantity, unit cost, and the total cost. Hindi po tayo pwede sumobra doon. It presupposes also that our end user already did their canvassing and taken into consideration previous purchases. Si PS-DBM, ang second tier po natin, we will do market price analysis to ensure that the price set is reasonable or if we can find lower price. And then we do the direct negotiation as the third tier. In here, we try to get terms favorable, more favorable to the government. Like baka pwede pababaan or usually kasi at the time they were asking for immediate cash payment, we say that we cannot do that. So you have to bear with the government. Price quotations ng PPE na pinadala sa PS-DBM noon. So ito mga yung mga pinadala, 1,975, 90 set, 1,910, 90 set. Meron ding 2,873, 80 set. We did not procure that. We cannot go above the budget of DOH, which is 2,000 pesos. So we have a slide here on the statement of our good chairman, COA chairman Michael Aguinaldo on September 7 during the Senate hearing. So Bayanihan Act po kasi, yung Bayanihan 1, the President was empowered to actually do away with RA 9184. The only requirement was yung advantageous to the government, yung pag-procure. Kailangan bang...
Sir, stop muna, sir. Sir Warren. Before we continue, I'd like the COA... Can you put the previous slide, itong COA? COA Chairman Michael Aguinaldo, are you present, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Do you confirm the slide in front of you that did you say that this quote, September 7 quote?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman, that I think it's a faithful reproduction of the statement I made.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Please proceed, Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there was a question raised kung kailangan bang mag-submit ng PS-DBM ng dokumentong nagpapakita ng financial capacity, SEC, GIS, General Information Sheet, at malinis na record ng directors at incorporators sa isang emergency procurement. Hindi po. Even under negotiated procurement in emergency cases po, the only documents asked are the mayor's permit, ITR, omnibus sworn statement, and then compliance to technical specifications. And I must add po, even in regular competitive bidding, which can take as long as 136 days, the general information sheet is not required po. Tapos, yun pong pupuntahan po ang official address ng mga corporation, wala rin po yun kahit po sa ating regular competitive bidding requirements under Republic Act 9184. Issue number 3, naprotektahan ba ng PS-DBM ang interes ng gobyerno at ng bayan sa pagbili ng face mask at PPE? Opo, dahil nagbayad lang po tayo sa suppliers, pagkatapos po ma-deliver, ma-inspect at ma-accept ang mga items. So actually, this is what then Yusek Lloyd now was saying. This is the pinaka-safeguard po natin. Under emergency cases po kasi, the factor is you have to address the emergency. Procure immediately, and then so that we can address po yung pangangailangan, emergency. If they cannot deliver, then we do not pay. So that's how we protect the government's money po. So surgical mask suppliers. So dito po pinapakita po yung various po natin na suppliers at kung magkano po nabili at pinapakita po na delivered po talaga sila. Wala pong ghost purchases. So as you can see, iba-iba po yung presyo noong simula po ng pandemya. May nabili po tayong mura, may nabili po tayong mahal. Depende po yan sa supplier. But we cannot afford not to buy because we are trying to save lives. So we cannot say that just because it's nearer to 28 pesos, we will not procure that and just let you get exposed to the virus. Hindi po pwede yon. Ang atin pong ginagawa is to address the emergency and save lives. So as you can see, EMS, it began delivering in June 1, 2020 po. Yan po yung ating 1350. Complete deliveries po. This is still EMS. Ito po yung mga deliveries niya, quantity and date delivered. So, this is again a online article. First batch of complete PPE sets from China arrives April 1, 2020. PH carriers add wings to PPE deliveries to get 170 sets, China. So tinap natin kahit ang Philippine Airlines and Cebu Pacific, OCD distributes additional DOH procured PPEs to hospitals. So this data came from, I think, the OCD. It shows how the PPEs were distributed? I think they can better answer these questions. Total distributed PPEs as of August 25, 2020, source OCD. So as you can see on the right side of the screen, those are the quantities distributed to the different regions. Yun lang po, Mr. Chairman. I hope I met the time constraint. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present it.
Thank you.